Welcome back. This is Charlie at My Messy Fingers. Thank you for coming in and joining me on this video tutorial. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. And then that way you'll get a notification from YouTube if any new tutorials posts for a different album that you might be interested in. And while you're at it, you might want to go over and check out the link for Scrap and Create. That's who sent me this collection. So what I got from them is one pad of the Creative Pad A4. We're going to be playing with a lot of what's in here. And then I got two pads of their Patterns pad, the 12 by 12. And then I also got two pads of the Pattern Pad, Paper Pad 12 by 12. So we're going to be playing with those, and I've got something kind of cool, unique in store for you on the front of the album. Also, if you order the collection from them, she's going to send you a bunch of little trinkets. And we're going to be playing with several of these. And with that in mind, in case you need to run to a craft store someplace, I am also going to be playing with a chain, thinking this might resemble the chain that goes over the side of a boat, you know, your anchor chain. And I'm going to anchor some of these on there. So you might want to dig out some of your little rings for attaching as well. I know you're going to ask, this is in my stash, but I can't help but not use it, but it's from this collection line by Tim Holtz, and it's an 18-inch chain one piece. So I know you're going to ask, so there you go. What I am going to do is dump these in my little tray so I don't lose any of them, and here we have the starting of the album. Now I want to let you know that I am going to use black cardstock, and what I'm using is from Cardstock Warehouse. It's called Color Plan Ebony, and I use 100-pound cardstock on the internal parts of the album because I want that sturdiness there to hold up the big pages that we're going to be building. And this pack comes in 25 sheets. You're going to need one. Then you're going to need a couple of the 65-pound cover in the same color plan, and they will sell it in individual sheets. So you really only need 2, maybe 3. Get 4 on the safe side, but you don't need to get 25 sheets unless you plan on using this color plan on multiple albums. I do, so that's why I get the big packs. In addition, I'm going to be backing the front of the album with a rust-colored type orange. In fact, it's also from Cardstock Warehouse, and it's a part of their color plan. It's called Rust. And I do believe it only comes in 100-pound sheets, but you're only going to need to have 2 of these. So with that, let's get to the album. You're going to need to have 2 pieces of chipboard that's going to measure 10 by 10, 1 piece of chipboard that's going to measure 10 by 2 1/4. You're going to take 2 of the 65-pound weight, 12 by 12 sheets of paper, and I want you to put a 3/8 inch tape. This is going to be our seam for binding the 2 sides. So let's go ahead and get that done. I don't like mixing my blacks. They all have a different tone to them. Some have a blue, some have a gray. So I always get the black in both 65 and 100-pound weight. I don't like using 65-pound weight on my pages because I don't feel it's sturdy enough to hold the weight of what we're going to be putting on. So enough said with that. I also want you to, I don't want you to do this, but this is what I do to combine my chipboard pieces. I use a product called TYVEK. It's a shipping envelope, a mailing envelope. It is sturdy. It has basically a no-tear policy. So it makes it a good product to put here up against the chipboard so that this paper here is sliding over the TYVEK and it's not sliding over the rough edge of the cardstock. That's where you get your tears, in my opinion. So I put this on, and then my paper is gliding over this, and then this takes all the brunt of the wear and tear for the hinge part of it. Each one of these is not quite 10 inches. I don't need it to go the full length of the page. In fact, it's probably a ½ inch short. Yeah, about a ½ inch short, so 9½ inches. But I cut them at 2 inches, and then I make 2 score lines. The first score line is going to be at 7/8. The next score line is going to be at 2 1/8. Or, excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm thinking 2 inches. This is going to be at 7/8, and this is going to be at 1 1/8. So once again, 2 inches across. Your first score mark is going to be at 7/8. Your second score mark is going to be at 1 1/8. That's going to create a 1/4 inch gusset down the middle of this, and that is what is going to absorb and take on the 2 pages and some of the paper that we're going to be pushing into that gusset to secure it a little bit better. Now, I am going to go ahead and, I know what I want to do. I'm going to go ahead and mount one side so you can see. Now I'm taking this and I am coming right up to that score line. I don't want to interfere at all with the gusset. I'm not going to come into the gusset. I'm just going to come right up to the score line. And what I did when I ran the tape right on the edge of that score line. So let's see here. I want to make sure I'm at the same height. Put that down, very good. And then I'm going to score here on the back side. So that is one panel backed by your spine. And then we're going to put the second panel, and you can see that we've got that 1/4 inch space in there. And it seems odd that I put a 1/4 inch space, but when you see how it turns out, you'll understand. I don't like albums where you've got a bunch of bunching up that's taking place at the hinge part of the album. Just my preference as a footnote. Okay, now I'm going to make sure I'm kind of on level down here at the bottom where I can see it. And then run that right up the flagpole. There we go. Now, real quick like, I'm going to run a bead of glue for the rest of the TYVEK. You can use tape, but to me, I've done it both ways. It's just this particular album, I'm doing it this way. I'm kind of copping out's what I'm doing. Trying to do it in a hurry. So, and I don't want to stand there and put tape on it and then have to take it off. I'm just being honest. Okay, so. All right, so we are all nice and secure. Now, Scrap and Create carries this. It comes in a 2-envelope pack, and that pack, those 2 envelopes are going to last you a very long time. So it's a fairly decent price on it. You can also, you know, shop around if that's what you want to do. Now what I'm going to do real quick, because this part's going to go kind of fast, I am going to line the outside of the black cardstock. Now with the size of this, I am going to go off screen with sections of it, but I will try to do that with the part that doesn't matter because I'm not working on it. One more strip here, and then we're going to go to the album itself. All right, now on this album, this is the outside, and we're going to add a bunch of tape to the outside of this to place on to the black cardstock. I'm going to use 3/8 of an inch tape because I want a little bit better coverage than 1/4 inch tape will give me, but I don't think it's necessary to have 1/2 inch. So just so that you understand what my thought process is. Okay, one down right at the very edge of the chipboard on both pieces. Now, when you put this one on, I want you to gently push up against the TYVEK so that this tape is coming right to the very edge of your chipboard. And then I'm going to go down the middle and then down the middle twice more. Okay, turn it over. I want to play now with the spine, and I'm going to do it this way. I get done turning around, I'll be settled. Okay, I'm going to push against it because I want this nice and tight and snug when I put this down. And then I'm going to push this way again so that I can come down and do this. And then I'm going to run just a thin 1/4 inch tape down the center, and that will take care of that piece. Now this piece, push against the chipboard so that the TYVEK's nice and tight. Then we're going to come down here to the end of the chipboard, put in a strip down the middle, and down the middle again, twice more. This burnished really good. Okay, now I have some more tape I need to add, and that's going to be on this inside rim, but I want to get this kind of laid out for you here. This is going to be odd measurements, but it is what it is because I'm not going to waste another sheet of cardstock to accomplish what I want done. This seam, this 3/8 seam, I want that as best as possible in the center of the spine. I don't like seeing seams here or here. So the other option I could have done was I could have spliced in a piece, but then I'm going to have two seams, and that's not what I wanted. What is going to happen on this is right about here, which means I've got about a 1/2 inch on each end, and I'll see if I can turn this so you can see this. I'm going to be not quite a 1/2 inch that I'm going to be able to pull over on this end, but I'm going to have at least 1 inch up here. I'm not going to worry about the odd sizes because it's all going to get covered up. What's more important to me is make sure that this seam is down the center as best as possible. Now I'm going to pull this down a little bit because I would like to have this at about 1 inch. So I'm not all totally wonky. All right, now palm that down nice and tight, lift this up, and I'm going to pull this 1/4 inch strip off. It's what I'm going to use to help keep this in place while I rip the rest of the tape off. So I am going to just kind of bend this a little bit. I'm going to come up underneath here. And then the same on this side. Excuse me while I mess around with this so I can get in here. There we go. All right. Let's go ahead and burnish. I'm going to turn it over. Give it a good burnish here. In a second, I got my cord, I think, fell into the view. I don't want it to. Hold on. It's not cooperating. There we go. All right, now, the next step is going to be really important when we go to take these off. What's going to happen is I'm going to pull this one first, and then I'm going to give a gentle tug so that this stays open. I don't want it to do this. I don't want it to do this. I'm going to give a gentle tug when I put this down against that tape so that this gusset stays open. That's going to be really important. So let's go ahead. I'm going to pull this. And I'm going to give a gentle tug. And then I'm going to take the rest of the tape off. And I apologize for this being at the angle that it's at. And no, I don't like taking all the tape off at once because I want to make sure that I keep this gusset open, so I only want one strip of tape removed. Okay, so let's turn this over and we're going to do the same thing on this side. Gentle little tug, make sure it's staying open. Press that down. And then I'll get in here and take the rest of this tape off. Okay. Good burnish. All right, now I'm going to lay the tape here. strip here. Some of this on the, I'm not going to worry about putting it on the ends because I'm just be taping on tape. Now, if I had the 1 inch that I desire to have, this has been a smaller album, and I'd have an inch all the way around, then I would tape both ends because it would be cardstock up against the chipboard. All right, so let's get this burnished, and then I'm gonna miter my corners. This thing's, apologize for the clinking against the glass, but it's a heavy piece of metal. I'm going to turn it this way because I'm right-handed and I want to be able to cut this at a good angle. I'm going to have wonky corners as it is. Okay, so now I'm going to start with an end. Push this back a little bit because the album's up on top of the tape and it's going to tear it like it just did. Pull these back just a smidgen. See, I get perfect coverage. I don't need to have it way out here because I'm going to bring my pattern paper up to about 1/8 of an inch of this anyway. Okay, I know what I want to do before I turn this. I need to smash and push. All right, I'm going to go to the other end. And then I'll work on the long ends. Come on. This one I'm cutting it kind of close on, but I'll still make it work. Because I only need 1/8 of an inch, so I've got a good 1/4 inch to work with there for coverage, so it'll get handled. All right, so I'm going to take the rest of this tape off. Now, if you want to avoid that, go ahead and cut in a piece. Just make sure that your seam is not anywhere near the gusset because that's where your activity is going to take place when this opens and closes. And don't even come in with a 1/4 inch. Come back here at least 1 inch so that the seam is back here far enough away if you want to patch in. All right, let's take this big long strip off. And just smunched myself on my finger. All right. All right, now with preferably a nice round tool, you're going to come in here and you're going to start to push very gently. You're going to run it right along the edge of each of the chipboard pieces and push this paper down into that gusset. Then I'm going to come down here and do it here on the bottom. You can see where they're going to lie by just bending it a little bit, but I want you to push it down in there and you'll see what the results are here in 2 shakes. Push it down. Don't push too hard. I don't want you to tear your paper, but the tape is going to help hold it down inside that gusset. And if you do tear, just run a little bit of glue. There's not much you can do about it. Just run some glue. Now, when this comes together, you have nice, sharp corners for your album. And that 1/4-inch gusset is absorbing all that paper. It's not bound up. Now, the next step is going to be done with 100-pound cardstock because, again, that's what I prefer to work with. I want the support and the sturdiness on the inside. So I am going to trim down, so this is 10 inches. I'm going to trim this down to 9 3/4. So excuse me while I slide over here to my trimmer. And I discovered something about my trimmer, so give me 2 shakes here while I try to make sure that I'm going to be okay. 9 3/4, perfect. All right. So that's my height. Now I am going to go 6 inches. And this becomes our base for attaching our pages. So we're going to tape this in. You know what, I'm going to cut another piece. I'd like to have this closer to the edge. So I can use these, so that's no big deal. I think I'm going to guess 10. I don't need that big of a gap between the top and the bottom. So what if I come in at, because 9 3/4, I had big gap. Let's go 9 7/8. I apologize if I've just messed you up, but trust me, we will use that paper. And then 6 inches. I think I'm gonna like this fit a lot better. Yeah, I'm liking that a lot better. Not quite to the end, but I don't have big gaps top and bottom. Okay, let's